Hello, Tony here for assignment 4. We'll just jump right into the first question where I had to create a shader, the optimized version of the color select 3D, which is here. So instead of putting in a separate constant buffer with a view and projection, we now just put in a world view projection matrix, or float 4x4 in this case, which in the shader I created for this looks like this. You got your one data structure here, and down here we got the send world, which takes in a view to view projection matrix and a world matrix, which then is multiplied together, and that's how you get the matrix that we send off to the shader. So instead of doing these two multiplications here for every vertex, we're just doing the one, like the position times the world view matrix. So I'm pretty sure that's as low as we can go without doing some other type of trickery, I would imagine. That is well beyond me. Right, we got the shader color optimized. Oh, this is the, yeah, okay, so let's go on to question 2, because I've shown off the shader. It works, as we see here. And we also got 5 different shapes. I color coded them so you can kind of see that they're different ones, different places. Right, so this is what it looks like inputting the data into the shader. We got the world data and the view projection matrix. So I just grabbed the view and the projection matrix here in the draw scene, and then multiply them together so that we send off one matrix to be multiplied against that, one for each different shader for different objects. And then, so it's only five multiplications there, 6 there, and then one more for each vertex when it renders the object. So I think that's as low as we can go, as far as I know. Yeah, that should cover question 2 here. We got our 5 objects. We got them as little multiplications as possible with the matrices. All right, let's close that down. Go on to question 3. Right, so this is the pyramid with the texture wrapping. Right, here we are. So as you can see, I've got the original position of each word, or the position of each vertex, and then we got the UV coordinates here on the end. Right, so instead of having 5 vertices, we now have to have one, or a set for each face for the most part, because they need different UV coordinates because they're facing different directions. That was the wrong one. And so yeah, we've got front, left, backside. The bottom face, on the other hand, has 2 triangles, but they're in the same like plane. So we can just do the 4 vertices. Right, so probably should run that so you can see it works. Pretty standard here. Just got pyramid repeat texture. Right, so this should look, it's got all its sides, but it should look like the picture, right? Cool. Moving on to question 4. Question 4. So we have the 6-face box, unit box here. Got forward, back, left, right, front, and all that. And with their UV coordinates, I just copied the triangle thing from the regular unit box, or not the regular unit box, the texture unit box, because it made it quite a bit easier. But let's run it so we can see all the faces are in the right places. Right, so got that. Back, front, right, top, left, bottom. That should be, I'm pretty sure that's how the bottom is supposed to go, just judging by the picture right here. So yeah, it lines up with the right. So I ran out of time for the last one, unfortunately, so I'm gonna skip that one. Go on to further work. Wrong. we want this. Right. So for the reason why when we take the unit box pre-made model instead of the texture wrapped box one, and then throw a texture at it with the appropriate sampling, as is this is really just a demo, that we get this solid colored box. Now, my theory on why this happens is that because where is it? We want the, right, so the texture shader takes in a float 2 for the texture coordinates, or UV map, but when the unit box, where is it? Here we are. It's sending in, this is a vector, so it's sending in 2 more um, values for each vertex than what it's expecting, and I think it ends up with garbage data, and it, for some reason, it ends up with a color, possibly the first color, like the color of the first pixel on the texture. I'm not entirely sure why, but like, where's the layout for the thing in texture, or not? Yeah, so that's my theory as to why it does that. And if I look at the different ones, see, the crate was brown, so that's generally the color that's, like, the crate texture is generally brown, and then this other texture is red, whereas it's red and right checkered. So I'm thinking maybe it just takes numbers from the first pixel or something along those lines, or either it tries to take a UV map, but it gets like the color garbage data in there, so it ends up like overflowing and it ends up blowing it up really out of proportion or something. That's that's really all I can think of for that. And the performance one, I don't really have a demo for this, unfortunately. I wasn't really sure what to do for this, and I didn't really have, again, ran out of time. So that's about it. See you in class.